Hey Kristina, could you tell me a little bit about yourself and your role in the Esto community growing up?
Sure. So my name's Kristina, although I did go by Chrissy as a child growing up because there were so many Kristina in the Estonian community. I grew up in Toronto, and I would say some of my early memories in the Estonian community, as well as core memories, were doing lasteaed as a child, spending many summers at Jõekäru, first as a kosmondik and then 2 years as the vetelpäästja. I also do remember doing 1 year of Eesti Elu, but that was actually Esto 101 when that program started when I was in high school.
And what did you enjoy most about those activities?
So I think for me, knowing that I wasn't heavily involved with the Estonian community, I wasn't doing Tuesday evening Eesti Elu, I wasn't involved with guided, those summers at Jõekäru were really that time for me to feel and be Estonian. So whether that was learning those key words that I still use now, tere, aitäh, palun, lasteaed, but also creating that group of friends that I am still really close with today. I think for me, those core memories and friendships really evolved and started when I was in sorority, and to this, what is it now, 20 years later, we're still really good friends. And really those those opportunities and experiences sort of created the foundation for my involvement in the Estonian community now.
So what have you been up to since then? Do you think you could talk about your job a little bit?
After high school, I went to McMaster University in Hamilton. I did a Bachelor of Arts in Health Studies and a minor in Sociology. From my parents' background working in healthcare, I always knew that I wanted to be in healthcare, but never quite knew where my fit was. I knew for sure I didn't want to be a frontline clinician like the both of them. So I started to explore where else could I see myself in this large healthcare ecosystem. So actually it was from a course that I took on quote e-health and learning about what Estonia has that actually inspired me to pursue my first master's degree, which was a Master's of Health Informatics at the University of Toronto. And after I finished that, I ended up working at one of the downtown academic hospitals in their IT department of all places, doing project management. And so I was there for the last 11 years. And then 3 years ago, I thought, there's never a great time to go back to school, but I think there's still more for me out there. And so I went back to the University of Toronto. I did a Master's of Health Administration, which I just wrapped up this past winter, graduated in June. And then for the last 3 months, I've actually been at a new organization, working at Sunnybrook Health Sciences Center in Toronto. And I'm actually working in their strategy and corporate projects portfolio, and myself and my two colleagues, we are working on the hospital's next strategic plan that's going to invent the future of healthcare.
So what does a typical day look like for you in that role?
Really, no 2 days are ever the same. You never quite know what's going to end up on your plate, but one thing I always really enjoyed was working with different groups, programs within the organization, so that you are ultimately having a positive impact on patient care and ultimately the work that the staff is doing to deliver that care.
So do you still feel a strong connection today to the community, do you think?
Absolutely, and I think for me it's both a sense of belonging to both the Toronto community, but also that community in Eesti. So if I think about my Eesti connection, yes, we still have family members that we keep in touch with, and whenever I go back, make every effort to try and see them. But it's because of these various connections or opportunities that I've had in Toronto. So whether it was dancing with Kundla and then dancing at Laulupidu back in 2014, now I have a group of friends through Rahvarans that whenever I go back to Eesti, we will always grab a bite to eat together, and it's now over 10 years that we've had this friendship. Or even through Amicitia with various amiko that have come here to visit, or whenever I've gone over there to visit, and you form these relationships with them. And now I have this whole new network of friendships that exist that whenever I go back to Eesti, I definitely always have a handful of people to see, but also many of those amiko now live elsewhere in Europe. So there's been times where I've been in or I've traveled to Stockholm because I was visiting with an amico there, or when my partner and I were visiting Amsterdam and did a side trip to Belgium, I had someone else to see there. So I'm very fortunate that I had that foundation of connection to the Estonian community here, but it's really just opened up so many opportunities for me beyond that.
So how do you envision the role of the community in your life going forward, do you think?
Well, it's definitely not disappearing from my life anytime soon. Definitely still quite invested in my involvement with Korp Amicitia. I'm the Rebane this year, so I have about 10 of our lasteaed that I am responsible for. I would also say that it's just so fundamental to who I am as a person that I just can't imagine not having the Toronto-Estonian community part of my life. And I think for me, it's a good reminder that yes, while the Estonian language is important, it's not the sole aspect that needs to be part of who you are. For you to actually participate in the community, there's so many opportunities for someone to get involved, stay involved, and I don't think that language necessarily needs to be something that holds someone back.